there are ways of seeing which exercises hit the target muscle that you want. A couple of what we at RP call proxies for stimulus. So this is something like tension. The perception of a lot of tension generated or exposed in that muscle. So if you're doing chest flies and you feel a crap load of stretch and pulling in the chest, that's probably good. If you're doing what you think is a chest fly, but you misread the machine's instruction thing and you feel a ton of tension in your biceps or your forearms or your shoulders, but you don't really honestly feel anything in the chest, on a just pure physics perspective, because of the mechanics of the movement, your chest has to be getting some exposure. But maybe you could be doing better by actually doing the exercise in a way or picking an exercise that really you feel some tension off of. Another clue to if you're stimulating the muscle properly is the burn. The burn is in especially higher rep sets when you start feeling the accumulation of metabolic byproducts in the target muscle. So the chest fly analogy, if you're doing high rep pec flies and at the end of that set, your pecs are burning, hey, that's probably good. You're probably getting a good stimulus there. On the other hand, if it's just your biceps that are burning, but your pecs don't really feel much, are you getting a stimulus in that exercise? Oh, yeah, sure. Is it guaranteed to be a really robust, really good stimulus? Probably not, because you should be feeling some combination of tension and burn. And then also there's pump. Again, none of these are mandatory, but together they're kind of like puzzle pieces that take what could be a C+ exercise for you and make it an A+ exercise if you're getting all the feelings right on this. So another one is pump. How much after several sets of the workout or of the exercise, how filled with fluid is your target muscle? So if you're doing pec flies and after a couple of sets, a girl walks by and you're like, what's up? And she's like, oh my God, and she runs away. I guess that's good, even though she ran away, but she ran away in a way that she obviously respected your pec size, which is the whole point of the gym. But if you do a bunch of sets of something, let's say you're doing pec flies, your shoulders are pumped, your biceps are pumped, even your forearms look more veiny, but if you can honestly say your chest has changed in a visible or palpable way, no doubt still trains your pecs, but maybe not that great. Another one is perturbation, which kind of presents itself in two forms. One is that target muscle feeling really weak? So let's say you do a few pec exercises and you think they're for the chest, and then you try to push yourself into your car, like push off your steering wheel, and you feel like a profound weakness in that pec. You're like, oh my God. And a really good example is if you're trying to walk downstairs after you hit quads.
Yep.
If you think you hit quads, but you really hit glutes and adductors, you can hop, skip down the stairs, no fucking problem. Are we allowed to swear in here? Or is that not a good idea?
Yep.
Sweet.
Whereas if you're doing this on the handrail,
yes, like desperately clinging for dear life, and your legs are shaky. Another thing with perturbation is crampy. None of this is required, but if your chest cramps hard when you're trying to pose after a few sets of whatever you're doing, the whatever you're doing absolutely hit your chest. The other thing is weakness too. So if I tell you, hey, this mega pec workout, what's your best bench? And you're like, well, it's like, 200 pounds for a set of 10. And I take you through a mega pec workout. After that, if we put 200 pounds on there, if you bench it for any close to 10, your pecs never got very fatigued, which almost certainly means they never got very stimulated. So you should see a pretty big repetition strength drop off. If you can barely do a push-up after a chest workout, oh shit, something happened to your pecs for sure, especially if you feel like your chest is the kind of onus of weakness in that movement. So those are all ways to kind of proxy that. And I would say another one, again, not a huge deal, not the deal, but a good little additive to the mix is, do you feel any kind of weakness or soreness that persists for hours or days after? So for example, if you do some kind of new quad machine at your gym and 2 days later, your inner thighs are sore, your glutes are physically sore, your quads aren't, either the way you did it, which I'm sure we'll get to technique, or just the exercise itself. It says quads, but it's really not quads. Maybe it is to some extent, but you would expect if you had a novel stimulus to feel some kind of soreness. But if you did something that says quads on it, and then the day later you can barely walk and you're sore to the touch, man, you have to have stimulated your quads. There is no alternative. So all those things are in the plus side category. And any exercise that hits a bunch of those check marks for you, man, that's a good exercise for you. And we're all different. So some people respond better to a pec fly machine, some people to dumbbells, some people to cables, some people to something in between. Whatever exercise checks those boxes for you really well, that's probably a good exercise for you, at least for the time being.